everyone, and welcome to This Week in Legacy for our yet another one of our Player Spotlight series. This is our third one we've done in video form, and I think it's going pretty well. Our last two that we had our good friend TK from our Eternal Weekend, and we also had Mafus Van Gogh of Dredge fame. But this week we've got somebody that I've been meaning to get on one of these for quite a while now, and it just finally lined up. So without further ado, Mr. Jarvis Yu. Jarvis, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing well. It's a pretty rainy Wednesday here outside Washington, D.C., but, perfect time to stay inside and get on the call, right?
That's right. So, for the most part, I think a lot of people will probably know vaguely who you are, but you've been in this space, especially in the Legacy community, but also just in Magic community in general, for a very long time. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of where you come from, and a little bit of your story?
Yeah, I guess the quick rundown was I started playing actual Magic in 1994. I opened a Revive starter, started playing competitive Magic in 2004. Then played some pro PTQs here and there during that era. Probably my first Pro Tour I played was Pro Tour Paris 2011. Then after that, I kind of fell off and on, and then probably what I'm most well known for is winning Grand Prix Seattle Tacoma in 2015 with lands.
Mm-hmm.
That's a quick funny story about that one. I was going to play that deck or Miracles at the time. Miracles was like probably the actual best deck, but Bob told me he thought lands had a better expected win rate, so I just ran with that, and kind of worked out. And I guess in general, I'm known for Legacy, but I kind of consider myself an overall format player, not just one format. I kind of think you can learn a lot from playing other formats, and it's I think generally harmful to people's improvement to only play one format.
Right. I definitely agree with that. I kind of do the same thing. I tend to play around with different formats just so I can get an idea. A friend of mine once told me formats inform other formats. So you can draw conclusions about other formats from, say Modern, informing Legacy. And we've definitely seen that in this past couple of years with decks like Rhinos come down from Modern into Legacy and that sort of thing. So what led you to just a Legacy in general, in terms of just getting into the format, and also what led you mostly to lands? Like, I mean, you are pretty much well known for lands. So what, besides Bob saying, hey, maybe play this deck, what about lands really spoke to you?
So a few things about Legacy. I got into the format way back when, probably around between 2005 2007. I don't remember the exact start time. And I played a lot of Vile Goblins. I used to really like Goblins as a deck. Fortunately, it hasn't aged very well power level wise, generally speaking. I mean, some people still play it. Obviously, Turbo Muxus is still a deck, but I would say like traditional Vile Goblins back in the 2007 days, that deck was extremely good and probably was the best deck in the format.
Right.
As into getting into lands, part of it is due to Kurt Spies III, Baltimore native. He was the real major innovator of this red-green sort of low to the ground lands archetype, because for that, the land decks kind of were like a mess. They were like four colors. They had like Toria West, Creeping Tar Pit, and Antigua Monastery. They honestly, like, the reason they had to play so many lands was their color requirements were not good, and you had to transmute a lot of Toria West to do your thing. I think basically in 20, right after Gate Crash came out, basically when that Thespian stage was released, and the legend rule changed, the weaponization of lands really began as to be like an actual like threatening combo prison deck instead of just a prison creature land attack you deck,
Right. So, and that's what you really like about that deck, is the fact that it's the multiple angles of attack and the various ways that the deck can play out.
Well, it's part of that, and I think in general, long games tend to favor the deck. Obviously, the deck, it has problems. Like, it's not infallible. Obviously, combo's a real soft spot, generally speaking. I mean, yes, some people play main deck Sphere of Resistance. That doesn't help you when you're on the draw. Like, I'm fond of saying that putting Sphere into the deck actually increases your play draw difference, like win rate, even more, because that's a card that's really only great on the play. But in general, yeah, the long games favor lands, so it's fun to play in a long game versus most of their decks, and it's usually really interactive, generally speaking.
Right. Yeah. So, in regards to just in general, as to where you're at now, what are you up to now in terms of like Magic and Legacy and all
Mhm.
that fun stuff? I know you said there's
Uh,
an event
yeah.
coming up you wanted to talk about very much so.
Well, there's actually a few things. I actually did manage to qualify for Pro Tour Outlaws of Thunder Junction,
Very
which is
nice.
next week in Seattle. So I've been not playing a lot of Legacy recently, honestly. Like I've been playing a little bit, but not as much as I normally would. Uh, so I've been preparing with that with Team Sanctum Evolve, which is a pretty cool team. Autumn Burchett,
Right.
Rainy, probably the most notable member of that team and the de facto leader. Besides that, a few weeks after that, there will be a big charity event in Silver Spring, Maryland. It's labeled as a legacy rumble against cancer. I had this brainchild a few years ago that maybe I want to run a legacy event supporting charity, cancer charities, intersecting two things I really care about, legacy and
Hmm.
cancer. I lost my father to cancer in July of 2021. It was really painful. Uh, you know, it was not fun for anyone. I
Right.
think anyone who's been through that process with a loved one involving cancer, especially in a hospital, and not being able to say bye at the last moment, it's
Hmm.
really not fun. So I really care about that cause. I usually also try to stream 1 month per year fundraising for cancer as well. So hopefully y'all can make it out for that. I know there are some people just waiting to sign up. If you sign up earlier, it really helps the TO and the coverage team a lot.
Right. Yeah. That's a it's a very noble cause. I'm really appreciative. Obviously, we're all very sorry for your loss. I've been in
Mhm.
this not in the same boat, but in a similar boat of losing a parent, and it's definitely not pleasant. But we're glad to see that you're taking that and to forward to um, people to show people that we can raise money to help support these kinds of causes, to help other people, deal with cancer research and all that stuff. I have a few close friends that do direct cancer research, actually.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I think at the roundabout way, your dad would be very proud of you for sure, Jarvis. It's super awesome to see. I'm looking forward to seeing the what this event, how many people we can get out for this event. I already kind of indicated I can't make it to this event. I really wish I could, but that's kind of unfortunate. But we're looking forward to it. So we'll keep you all, especially all the readers and stuff on the column, in the know as to what's going on with the event when it comes down the line. And again, what's the date again on that?
It's May 11th, 2024. It's in Silver Spring, Maryland. So I understand it could be a trek for a lot of people,
Right.
but I think in general, getting to Washington, D.C. from most areas is not that bad.
Right, and I will make sure I nab the links for all that, and I will put that down in the video description. It'll also be in the description of the article when it goes live, so that everybody can kind of see that whole thing, so they can figure out where to go sign up if they want to go sign up for that event. So that's definitely going to be an interesting and awesome event, I'm sure. And there's coverage too for this event, right?
Oh, yeah, actually, so fun story. Ari Lack's a good friend of mine, also lives in the area.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked him if he wanted to help cover Legacy. He said, yeah, I'm snap in. It's a good cause, charity. And we also have Mike Noble as a third. It's easier to have a three-person team so one person can have a break every round,
That's awesome.
not get burnt out. So I'm very, very looking forward to it. Also, for those of you who are into that sort of thing, it's actually inside of a brewery.
Oh, that's
It's kind of
cool.
a nice upscale brewery. I've been there a few times just to hang out with people, and just drink and talk, and it's nice. So
Right.
um, maybe that some people will come. Feel free to just come hang out too, even if you're not playing, even if you don't think you can play Legacy. Just say hi. It's easy to get to via public transit as well.
Yeah, and I'm sure that the charity you're benefiting too. I'm sure that even if they're not entering in the event, there's probably some way that they can directly contribute to that charity if they desire.
Yeah, we'll have the information in the link as well. I think Jimmy
Okay.
was working on updating that as well.
Good to
So,
know. So, so moving on from that, let's talk a little bit more about. So again, your current relationship with Legacy is kind of sort of non-existent right now. Have you been, besides preparing for the Pro Tour, have you kind of kept abreast with what's going on with Legacy at
uh,
the moment? Like, what are your
so
thoughts on that?
yeah, great question. I actually do keep abreast. I usually play Legacy like once per week. There's actually a local DMV like Legacy League that their
Right.
leaderboard points or whatever. I'm making, I guess, kind of a run for it for the end of the year tournament. Uh, Basically, the first two 1Ks they hosted, I made the finals and top eight of both of them. So I decided that I'll just play the weeklies and get some leaderboard board points that way. Um, I think Legacy, it depends on who you ask. There are some things that are not very fun about it, but I think that just comes at the expense of playing a high power level format. I think generally a lot of people would agree that getting griefed twice on turn one is not very pleasant, similar to
Right.
Rakdos in Modern. And yeah, they banned Fury from the deck, and the deck is no longer as good in Modern. But the grief reanimate grief thing, you're even less all in because at least in Modern, you have to like cast your undying effect with the grief on the stack still. Here, the grief can just die. You can like wait. You can even reanimate a turn later. It's really not a fun experience. I will agree with that, and I think that's the reason you see so many like black variants
Mm-hmm.
with this shell. Say Bowmaster, Grief, Reanimate. Sometimes in Tomb, sometimes not in Tomb. So that can also make it challenging to sideboard against. I think it's just it's kind of suppressing the format in a way because I think that sort of situation is not great for combo, generally speaking, to get double Thoughtseize on turn one and for there to be a 3-2 on turn one as well as the fact that I think on the other like polar end of the format is Beanstalk, which is a very different type of deck to have to attack.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not even like a singular type of Beanstalk deck. You can like play an aggressive slanted Beanstalk deck like I generally tend to do. You can play like a super controlling type of Beanstalk deck, such like my friend like Mental Misstep, aka Stefan Schutz. He prefers to do that. I don't really like those type of decks, but I do understand they are somewhat powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Legacy, by a lot of metrics, is diverse and healthy, but I think there are play patterns within the format that are really not so fun. And I think a lot of it has to do with fire design still. Like, they keep
Right.
making the cards really powerful. So I think this is just inevitable. You just kind of have to accept it. You can't just play your deck from like 2013 and hope to compete, honestly. Like it's just not realistic.
Right. Adaptation and having to adapt. So you mentioned Beanstalk, so that, I assume that's what you've been playing lately. What color of Beanstalk deck have you been playing?
So it's actually funny. At the weekly legacy, I tried to play a different deck every week.
Okay.
I basically gone 2-1 and 3-0 every week, playing a different deck. So the first one I played was a run back of my top eight deck, which was the Leyline Domain Scion
Okay.
Leyline deck. So
Right.
it has both Leylines, of course. Like that's how those decks work. But Up the Beanstalk and Scion of Draco actually go very well together as well. And the Scion Leyline thing, certain fair decks just fold to that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
think about it like a Death and Taxes deck. They can't really beat that before you kill them with your Sign of Draco. Uh,
Right.
uh, it usually involves some Skyclaving the Leyline of the Guild Pact and then killing your Scion, but that's really slow. Like, it's not always reliable. And, uh, things can happen. I've been playing Yori on Death and Taxes as
Okay.
well as lands. I played Esper Scamner. So basically, I've touched most of the like different pillars of the format just out of science, uh, whether it be online or IRL. I
Mm-hmm.
played a little bit with Muxus Goblins, but I do understand Muxus Goblins on MTGO is slightly different than in paper.
Right.
Uh, the major difference maker is in paper, you will know your output of your name sticker goblin before you cast it. Whereas
Right.
on MTGO, you don't actually know. The frequency of the like mana outputs is similar, but there is obviously a difference to knowing, oh, this is definitely going to make six, I can cast my boxes, or 30% of the time when I cast this, it's going to make six. So those are
Right.
technically different things.
Right. Well, that's actually pretty cool. I like the idea of trying different things just to kind
Mhm.
of understand a little bit about the current format, especially that kind of probably helps you understand how to attack each of those different decks as
Exactly.
well. Yeah, by understanding what their play patterns are and stuff. So,
Yeah, this sort of ties into the fact that I like to play other formats as well. Like, I
hmm
think just in general, people get too laser focused on doing one thing, and it's actually not the best way to approach things. Whereas I'm going to like spend a little bit of time on everything. Then if I decide this one thing is great, then I'll spend a bunch of time on it. Basically, is how I operate, and I think a lot of people would probably have better results if they tried to approach it that way.
right. Yeah. Like I said, I try to do that too. I try to play a bunch of different types of formats and especially formats. Obviously, I write about multiple different formats, so and I tend to stay abreast of those pretty well as well. Sometimes it's hard in paper, but Magic Online makes it a lot easier for sure to be able to hop in and grab a game for something if you want to try something out. So yeah, I think we kind of covered a good portion of what we needed to cover with you today. Like I said, we really appreciate you coming on and joining us for one of our Spotlight series. Where can people find you to kind of follow what you're doing with the format and all that stuff on the internet and all those fun places they can look for you?
Well, yeah, in general, I post about overall Magic. Sometimes it'll be about Legacy, sometimes it won't. Twitter is pretty common, JKYU06 there. Twitch, Jarvis Yu. YouTube, Jarvis Yu. I really do run the gambit of formats, including I'll probably stream some Booster Draft tomorrow, the new set draft on MTGO. So, it is what it is.
So, okay, cool. Well, I will stick some of those links also down in the description as well. Yeah, so thank you, Jarvis, for joining us this week. Really appreciate it. Hopefully, looking forward to the event in Maryland. We'll keep an eye out for that, and I'll let everybody know where they can continue to find that to sign up. I already featured it once in the article, but I'll do some reminders to people so that they can make sure that they get signed up for it. And again, as Jarvis said, if you're thinking about it and you're on the fence and thinking about maybe signing up, just go ahead and do it. Like that way, if you're committed and you can get there. Like I said, I know it's rough, but it's for a good cause. And of course, we'll have some information probably closer to the event on how you can also contribute to the charity directly. So again, thank everybody for watching, and we'll be doing another one of these at some point. I just gotta pin down who I'm gonna do it with. Of course, I'm always willing to take suggestions and comments and everything. So if there's somebody specifically you want me to do a player spotlight with, please let me know. And again, make sure to like and subscribe, and hit the bell for follows, and check out This Week in Legacy, Vintage 101, and The Power of Pauper on MTG Goldfish. And hope everybody has a great week, and we'll see you next time.